Welcome, gents. You're not too quiet. You're just not loud for no reason. If you've ever caught yourself doing things that other people find odd, zoning out in a crowded room, rethinking a conversation hours later, or obsessing over how to do something just a little more efficiently, you might not be weird at all. You might just be a Sigma male with a mind that refuses to settle for surface-level living. Sigma males don't fit the usual mold. They're not loud leaders or eager followers. They're something entirely different. They move in silence, think deeply, and often carry a kind of stillness that makes people wonder what's going on in their heads. And what's going on is a lot. These are the guys who can be calm on the outside, but are mentally scanning every detail around them. Not because they're paranoid, but because they notice what most people miss. Their habits can look strange, talking to themselves, rearranging their room in the middle of the night, watching one movie scene 10 times to study a single look. But every one of these habits comes from a brain that values depth over distraction. This video is for the thinkers, the watchers, the ones who move differently and never felt quite at home in the crowd. If you've ever felt that your habits are too unusual or your mind is too intense, stay with this video until the end. You're not alone, you're just not average. And that's exactly the point. So gents, let's dive into it. Number 1, they rehearse imaginary conversations like mental chess. This one right here is one of the strangest but most revealing habits of highly intelligent Sigma males. They're not just randomly daydreaming or overthinking like people assume. What they're actually doing is running quiet mental simulations, full-on conversations that haven't even happened yet. And no, it's not because they're anxious or trying to be dramatic, it's because their mind refuses to walk into anything blindly. Sigma males don't just care about what people say, they study how it's said, the tone, the pauses, the slip-ups, the contradictions. They're listening to the silence between the words just as much as the words themselves. So when they mentally rehearse conversations, they're not planning out lines like a play, they're testing reactions. If I say this, will they defend or deflect? Will they go quiet or get louder? They play it out like chess, several moves ahead, watching how each choice reveals the real game being played. It's less about preparing to win and more about decoding the truth. See, Sigma males don't trust face value. They've learned that people often say one thing and mean another. So before they walk into a room or respond to a message, they've already analyzed the motives behind it. This is why they come off calm and unshaken. It's not because they're emotionless. It's because they've already lived that conversation in their head 10 different ways before it even happened. And here's the twist. Sometimes after mentally running through it all, they decide not to have the conversation at all. That's the part most people never understand. They don't need to speak to win. They just need to see what the truth would have been. So next time you see a Sigma male staring off in silence, trust that something serious is happening. He's not zoning out. He's reading a situation that hasn't even happened yet. And chances are when it does, he'll already be 3 steps ahead. Number 2, they find social rituals exhausting even if they're good at them. Here's something most people don't get about Sigma males. They can blend into any room. They know how to shake hands, smile politely, give the expected birthday wish, and carry out small talk like a pro. They can charm when they need to. They can make people feel seen and heard. But here's the truth behind the scenes. It drains them. Not a little, but deeply. It's not because they hate people. It's not even because they're shy. They just don't like wearing a social mask. Or the surface-level stuff, the empty pleasantries, the scripted smiles. It all feels fake. It's like being stuck in a loop of saying things that don't matter, and for someone who thrives on depth and authenticity, that's exhausting. Imagine showing up at a party, smiling, nodding, and pretending to care about weather updates or someone's cousin's dog for hours. Sigma males can pull it off, but by the time they leave, they feel like their brain has been wiped out. The noise lingers, their energy feels scattered. It's not social anxiety, it's a kind of social allergy. Too much of it and they start to itch for silence. So what do they do after? They disappear, they unplug, no texts, no calls, just quiet. That's their reset button. They need time alone to scrub off the fake layers and reconnect with their real self. Most people think Sigma males are antisocial because they leave early or stay silent. But in reality, they've just hit their limit. Too much meaningless talk starts to feel like static in their head. They crave substance, not noise. So if you see a Sigma male looking drained after being around people, it's not about drama, it's about honesty. His mind was in a room full of people, but his soul was counting down the minutes until he could be alone again, where everything finally makes sense. Number 3, they clean or rearrange their space when they are emotionally overloaded. When the mind is in turmoil, an orderly physical space becomes a haven where inner chaos can begin to settle. Imagine coming home after a long day. Instead of diving into another round of thoughts, a Sigma male may decide to move a chair or fold a pile of papers. It is not simply about having a tidy room. It is a deliberate act of resetting the mind. In moments of stress, when feelings are swirling and thoughts are unmanageable, the tangible world offers a soothing contrast. A single clean table, a neatly arranged shelf, or even a properly aligned stack of books can have a strangely calming effect. It gives space to breathe while the mind slowly untangles itself from the knots of anxiety. This method is both a coping mechanism and a way of communicating with their inner self. They're sending a clear message that they have control over something, even if everything else seems to be out of control. Picture a room that has not been disturbed. Every item has its place, and the calmness of the environment mirrors the inner peace that they are trying to achieve. When a Sigma male meticulously sorts out small details, it is a way of processing larger, more overwhelming feelings. It may seem mundane to some, but that act of ordering the external world makes the internal world feel less overwhelming. It is as if a clean table gives clarity to thoughts that might otherwise be lost in a storm of anxiety. Every time the space is rearranged, it represents a victory over the turbulent emotions inside. It is not an escape, but a form of expression, a message that says, I can make sense of chaos here, and I will do so until I find inner calm. So the next time you notice someone quietly reordering their surroundings, know that they are not merely tidying up. They are clearing the way for a chance to hear their own thoughts once more, letting that clarity guide them forward. Number 4, they record voice notes they never send. This is one of those habits that looks odd from the outside but makes perfect sense once you understand what's going on inside a Sigma male's mind. It usually happens late at night when the world goes quiet and distractions finally disappear. That's when thoughts start to surface. Real thoughts, the kind they can't explain to others, not because they're hiding something, but because most people just won't get it. So instead of talking to someone who might misunderstand, they open the voice recorder on their phone and just speak. No filter, no script. Just raw thoughts, ideas, questions, doubts. Sometimes it's a rant. Sometimes it's a strange theory. Sometimes it's just them thinking out loud about something that's been sitting heavy on their chest. These recordings aren't meant to be shared. They're not seeking validation. They're not hoping for a reply. It's a private ritual, a kind of mental journaling where the voice becomes a mirror. And what's interesting is that by saying things out loud, they start to understand their own thoughts better. Hearing the sound of their own voice talking through a problem often gives them clarity that silence can't. Most people have someone they call in the middle of a rough day. Sigma males, they open the recorder and leave a message for their future self. That's their version of emotional survival. It's not lonely, it's self-reliance. These voice notes might never be played again. Or maybe weeks later they'll revisit one and find something in it they couldn't see at the time. A buried truth, a reminder, a lesson. Either way, it's a quiet form of therapy that nobody sees, a habit that keeps their mind sharp, emotions clean, and decisions aligned with who they truly are. So if you ever come across a Sigma male quietly recording a voice note to no one, let him be. He's having one of the most honest conversations of his life. Number 5, they rewatch the same movie scene multiple times for one small detail. To most people, rewatching a movie scene over and over sounds obsessive, boring even. But to a Sigma male, it's not about entertainment. It's about discovery. They are not sitting there reliving the moment for fun or out of nostalgia. They are scanning for something deeper. A micro-expression, a pause in the dialogue, a strange choice in lighting, or even a single blink that changes the meaning of the entire scene. Sigma males watch with a different kind of attention. They do not just follow the storyline, they study it. Every sigh, every glance, every half second of silence could be a message. A character's face may give away a hidden motive. A subtle shift in tone might reveal the truth that the words are trying to hide, and once they catch it, they rewind and watch again, not to confirm what they saw, but to understand why it matters. This kind of viewing turns into a personal investigation. It's like peeling back layers of meaning most people never notice, and once they see behind the surface, they cannot unsee it. The scene transforms. The story changes. The characters feel real. This habit reflects how Sigma males interact with life in general. They rarely take things at face value. They are built to observe the layers underneath, in people, in conversations, in everything. And film, being a mirror of human behavior, becomes another tool for decoding. So when you see a Sigma male watching the same 30 seconds of a movie 5 times in a row, do not assume he's wasting time. He's catching what everyone else missed. He's listening to the silence, watching what was almost said, because for him, truth is often found in the quiet details that the average eye skips over. Number 6, they clean or rearrange their space when they're emotionally overloaded. This might look like ordinary tidying to someone else, but for a Sigma male, it's something much deeper. When their mind is full, when emotions start pushing against the walls of their brain, their first move isn't to talk about it or vent. It's to start moving things around, wiping a surface, straightening a chair, clearing off a cluttered desk. It's not about being neat, it's about finding clarity. The outside world becomes a mirror of what's going on inside. If the room is chaotic, their thoughts feel more scattered. If the space feels calm and clean, the storm in their head starts to quiet down. A spotless table becomes more than a surface. It becomes a mental reset, a place where thoughts can finally land without crashing. They may not even realize they're doing it at first. 1 minute they're overwhelmed, the next they're vacuuming or folding laundry with laser focus. And it's not because they suddenly care about dust, it's because their brain is craving something simple, something they can control, while everything else feels like too much. This quiet ritual gives them room to breathe. As their hands bring order to the outside, their mind starts to sort itself out in the background. Decisions come easier. Emotions lose their sharp edge. A solution that felt impossible an hour ago suddenly appears, tucked between the corners of a clean room. People often misunderstand this as avoidance, but it's actually processing. It's thinking without words, feeling without panic. A way of gently pulling themselves out of emotional overload without making noise or asking for help. So if you ever see a Sigma male deep into cleaning while looking like he's somewhere else in his mind, he is. He's not escaping. He's rebalancing. One drawer, one surface, one quiet moment at a time. Number 7. They test their own beliefs by arguing the opposite. Most people defend what they believe without question. They cling to it, protect it, and repeat it like a badge of honor. But Sigma males take a very different route. Even when they're sure of something, especially when they're sure, they challenge it. In the privacy of their own mind, they flip the argument. They take the other side. They question themselves, not because they're unsure, but because they refuse to believe something blindly. They're not looking for approval. They're looking for truth. And they know that truth doesn't need to be protected. It needs to be tested. So they'll sit with a strong belief they've held for years and quietly ask themselves, what if I'm wrong? What if the opposite is true? What if I've been conditioned to think this way? This inner debate isn't some dramatic identity crisis. It's routine. It's how they keep their thinking sharp and their mind clean from inherited noise. It might look like overthinking to others, but it's actually mental discipline, because Sigma males understand something most people avoid, that confidence built on untested ideas is fragile, and they'd rather have a belief that's been torn down and rebuilt 100 times than one that's never been questioned at all. They don't argue for sport, they argue for clarity. They know that if their beliefs can't survive a little pressure, they're not worth holding on to. And if their beliefs do survive that pressure, they come out stronger, deeper, and fully theirs. This is why Sigma males often sound calm when discussing serious topics. They've already had that argument with themselves. And by the time they speak out loud, their words aren't just opinions. They're conclusions built on inner conflict and honest thinking. Number 8. They stare at people without realizing it. This habit gets misunderstood all the time. Someone's talking in a room, telling a story, or just moving around, and the Sigma male goes still. Eyes locked in, expression unreadable. To others it might seem intense or even a little unsettling, but he's not staring to be rude or creepy. What he's doing is observing on a level most people don't even know exists. Sigma males have this built-in radar for what's not being said. While others are busy reacting to words, they're watching the in-between moments. The twitch in the jaw, the shift in posture, the flicker of doubt behind a smile. They're scanning energy, micro-expressions, pauses that don't match the story. And they're doing it quietly, automatically, sometimes without realizing just how long they've been watching. It's not judgment, it's analysis. They're trying to understand what someone is really feeling, not just what they're trying to present. Because Sigma males are wired to crave truth, even in the smallest gestures. They don't trust the mask, they watch the cracks in it, and then suddenly they catch themselves. The room shifts, someone glances back and the Sigma snaps out of it like they've just come back from another planet. They'll look away, shift their posture, maybe even fake like they were deep in thought about something else. But make no mistake, they saw everything. This habit doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from instinct. Sigma males don't stare because they want to control or confront. They stare because they notice, they can't help it. It's how they read the world. One glance, one blink, one breath at a time. So if a Sigma male ever locks eyes with you and seems to be quietly watching, just know they're not judging you. They're reading your truth. And they'll never see you the same way again. Number 9. They avoid groups not out of shyness, but because energy gets diluted. It's easy to label a Sigma male as antisocial just because he avoids groups. But the truth runs much deeper than that. He's not afraid of people, he's not awkward in crowds. He just knows that when too many voices are in the room, the signal gets lost in the noise. In group settings, everyone seems to shift a little. They start performing instead of connecting. Jokes become safer. Opinions get watered down. The conversation turns into a social balancing act and masks quietly come out. For a Sigma male, this feels like emotional static. Too much motion, not enough meaning. He doesn't hate people. In fact, he craves real connection, but it has to be one-on-one. That's where things sharpen. That's where someone drops the act and gets honest. In those quiet conversations, the masks come off, the energy is direct, and the truth has room to breathe. There's no pressure to entertain or impress. Just a real moment between two minds. That's what the Sigma male is searching for. Clarity. In crowds, he feels his focus get pulled in too many directions. It's like pouring a gallon of attention into 10 tiny cups and not getting a full drink from any of them. So he doesn't stay long. He might show up, observe, even say a few words. But the moment it starts to feel hollow, he drifts. And when he leaves early or stays on the edge of the room, people often assume he's disinterested. But the truth is he's protecting the depth of his attention, preserving his energy, saving it for the moments that actually matter. So no, he's not shy, he's selective. He's not hiding from the crowd, he's choosing not to drown in it. Number 10, they replay arguments in their heads for weeks. To most people, an argument ends when the conversation stops. But for a Sigma male, that's just where it begins. Long after the room has gone quiet and the other person has moved on, he's still in it, mentally rewinding every sentence, every pause, every shift in tone, not because he wants to hold a grudge, not because he's obsessed, but because his brain refuses to let something go until it understands why it happened. Arguments, to a Sigma male, aren't just emotional flare-ups, they're puzzles. Complex, messy, layered puzzles, filled with hidden meanings and missed cues. He wants to know what was actually being said beneath the words, what wasn't said at all, what that one strange pause really meant. Was it anger? Was it fear? Was it truth finally slipping out? He dissects it all like a full-blown case study. He replays both sides, examines his own tone, wonders if he was too direct, too silent, or maybe too honest. He questions the other person's logic, their intentions, even their body language, and every time he runs it back, he catches a detail he missed before. To some, this looks like overthinking, but for the Sigma, it's analysis, it's growth, it's preparation for the future. He's not stewing in bitterness, he's collecting data. He wants to make sure that if that kind of situation happens again, he'll handle it with twice the clarity and zero confusion. This mental replay isn't about revenge or proving he was right. It's about extracting truth. Because for a Sigma male, arguments aren't just moments of conflict. They're rare chances to see people unfiltered. And once that curtain lifts, he wants to study every inch of what was revealed. So if you think he's moved on just because he went quiet, think again. He's just in the lab, running the footage frame by frame until the truth clicks. Number 11. They read comment sections to understand humanity. While most people scroll through comment sections for laughs, drama, or a quick distraction, Sigma males approach them completely differently. For them, it's not about entertainment. It's research, deep, subtle, unfiltered research. To the Sigma mind, a comment section is one of the few places where raw human behavior spills out without polish, no scripts, no filters, just emotion, opinion, ego, fear, insecurity, and truth all mixed together in real time. They're not just reading what people say. They are scanning for patterns, what makes people angry, what gets ignored, what goes viral for no reason, what makes one comment get 100 likes and another get attacked. They notice which words trigger defensiveness, which ideas invite groupthink, and how quickly someone will switch their stance just to fit in. It's like digital anthropology. Instead of observing tribes in the jungle, they're watching human instincts play out on a screen. Likes, replies, arguments, emotional outbursts, and blind loyalty. It's fascinating to them. Because in those little sentences typed out in a rush, people reveal who they really are. Sigma males don't judge, they observe quietly. While others are arguing in the thread, they're in the background taking notes, watching how fear hides in sarcasm, how envy dresses itself up as critique, how herd mentality kicks in when someone dares to say something unpopular. And the wild part, most of the time, they don't even comment, they just watch, learn, and walk away with insight most people missed. Because while the world's busy shouting, the Sigma male is studying the echo. So next time you see one of them deep in a rabbit hole of random comments, don't assume they're wasting time. They're watching the digital version of human nature unfold and quietly sharpening their understanding of how people really think when no one's watching. Number 12, they keep a mental blacklist of fake smiles. Sigma males have a sharp eye for things most people overlook. And one of the first red flags they notice in a person is the smile that doesn't reach the eyes, that forced, polite grin that's just a little too rehearsed. It might last a second, it might be subtle, but they catch it. And once they do, it gets stored. They don't always react in the moment. They're not the type to call someone out in front of others or stir up unnecessary drama. Instead, they log it silently. That moment becomes a quiet marker, a mental note. This person shows something on the surface but hides something underneath. They won't confront you, but they'll never forget. To Sigma males, the eyes always tell the truth. The mouth can lie. Words can be sweet, but the eyes, that's where real intention hides. And once they sense a disconnect between the two, it's game over in terms of trust. This isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. Over time, they collect small details like this, a fake smile here, a shift in tone there, body language that feels off, and slowly a clear picture forms. You might think you fooled them with charm or niceness, but they already know what sits behind it, and they've adjusted accordingly. The mental blacklist isn't about revenge, it's about boundaries. Once someone lands on it, the Sigma male simply starts pulling back, less energy, less access, less vulnerability. It's not personal, it's just protection. So while others are busy being impressed by someone's words or friendliness, the Sigma male is watching for consistency. He's asking, does the energy match the expression? Do the eyes agree with the mouth? And if the answer is no, that smile goes on the shelf, permanently. Because once a Sigma male sees through you, there's no going back. In final words, the things that make you different are often the very things that make you powerful. If you've seen yourself in these strange habits, the overthinking, the silence, the vanishing acts, the deep dives into details no one else even notices, then stop wondering what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong. In fact, it might just mean you are wired like a Sigma male. You don't chase crowds, you don't need applause to feel valuable. You think deeply, question everything, and move through life in a way that feels natural to you, not the version the world tries to sell. That's rare. And more than that, it's necessary. Most people follow systems. Sigma males build their own. Most people want to be liked. Sigma males want to be real. And when you live like that, with your own rhythm, your own values, your own quiet intensity, people will not always understand you. But that's part of the price for being built different. These habits that others find weird, they're not random. They're part of a larger design. A design that allows you to see through lies, feel things more deeply, and respond with precision rather than noise. That's not weakness. That's power most people never develop. So if any part of you has ever felt out of place or out of step, good. That means you're not trapped in the crowd. You're thinking for yourself. You're moving with purpose. You're becoming someone the world needs but rarely sees. Stay with this video until the end. Every insight shared here isn't just for entertainment. It's a mirror for people like you. Quiet, intelligent, independent, and not here to fit in but to understand. Keep watching. This was made for you. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.